Hi everybody! This is Murali from Studio CX360. 2020 marks a major refresh cycle for Apple. With a slew of acquisitions, significant technology and market shifts, and with the iPhone slated for a design change, 2020 promises to be an exciting year. Let's take a sneak peek at what's cooking at Apple, shall we? If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you've seen any one of my earlier videos, welcome back. I post every week on topics related to tech, productivity or books. Let's get started right away. 2020 seems to be a major refresh year for iPhones, with a significant change in design, the launch of the 5G, an all-new chip design, USB-C, upgraded Face ID, and further camera improvements, and of course, not to forget, the focus on battery life. Let's start with 5G. 5G is no longer a new thing, and 5G networks are slowly starting to roll out across much of the world. So 5G handsets will start popping up in 2020. Reputable Apple analyst Min-Chi Kuo said 4 5G-enabled phones will launch in the second half of 2020. These are two bandwidth categories where we are seeing 5G implemented. One is the sub-5 GHz and the second is the millimeter wave. The millimeter wave has shorter signaling distance but potentially faster speeds. With the US and EU leading the way on millimeter wave, expect those handsets to be at a premium along with higher consumer costs to endorse the service. Millimeter wave requires consistency because the data rate plunges steeply proportionate to the distance from the cell tower. This will steeply affect battery life and heat from devices. Analyst Mehdi Hosseini predicts we could see sub-6 GHz models in September 2020, while wave models would most likely be postponed to 2021, indicating that the phones could possibly be customized regionally. Kuo predicts that this is unlikely, but Apple may disable 5G functionality in countries that don't offer 5G services or have a shallow 5G penetration rate. Along those lines, we could expect 4 iPhone 12 models, 2 in the iPhone 11 style with some compromises to keep the costs down and to penetrate into more price-sensitive markets, and 2 Pro models. Only iPhones in the US, Canada, Japan, Korea and UK might see 5G millimeter wave, while Apple will see sub-6 GHz for other countries to reduce production costs. The chip is expected to be a Qualcomm X55 modem. This will be supported by an entry-level 4G iPhone SE2 with a size that fits smack in between the earlier iPhone SE and the iPhone 8, possibly launching in the March event. Rumors are calling it the iPhone 9. The idea behind the iPhone 9 seems to be behind introducing a phone with lower costs and a smaller footprint, but spec'd up enough to cater to the latest iOS. Nomura Instinet analyst Jeff Kowal corroborates the same, saying that there will be 4 phones, but says they won't be cheap. Min-Chi Kuo quoted that the price increase is unlikely to be major, only between $30 and $100. The iPhone 12 models could see a 5.4-inch and a 6.1-inch model with 2 cameras, while the iPhone 12 Pro could see an OLED-based 6.1-inch and a 6.7-inch model in a 3-model configuration, possibly with a 6 GB of RAM and having Samsung's LPDDR5 mobile RAM. That's 30% faster than their previous mobile memory. However, recent leaks from Mako Takara seems to indicate that Apple may stick to its current design and contradicts Min-Chi Kuo's prediction in terms of design. Maybe Apple did consider, but the new sizes may have something to do with it. We've been hearing rumors of the notch potentially shrinking, but there's no credible evidence of that yet. According to Max Weinbach, we could be seeing a new navy blue instead of a midnight green color in this year's Pro lineup. Max has an incredible record when it comes to leaks. The new 6.7-inch iPhone is also predicted to be thinner, with larger rear camera sensors. But those guesses are likely to be outdone like other design changes that Apple have put out versus the leaks that came out earlier. Apple seems to be working on image stabilization technology to render higher megapixel images, combining the interim images from its 3 camera lenses. DigiTimes reports that the Pro models would come with sensor shift image stabilization on wide-angle lenses, resulting in better image quality. Combine that with a feature of 10x optical zoom, which currently stands at 2x, you have a huge leap this year. Apple's acquisition of US-based AI startup Xenor AI and British startup Spectral Edge should help us see some software improvements to image recognition working locally rather than sending those images to a server. Apple's new A14 chip would make the iPhone 12 as powerful as the 15-inch MacBook Pro. The upgrade is from a 7nm to a 5nm processor, resulting in a tremendous boost in multi-core graphics performance. This should help gamers, content creators, and a boost to the Face ID technology using new time-of-flight sensing technology, TOF. A new EU law pushes for a USB-C cable interface format for the charger. This may force USB-C connectors for all smartphones. This, combined with the claims from Barclays analysts corroborated with Minchiko's claim, might mean that Apple could ditch the Lightning connector in 2020. Rumors are also abate that iPhone could ditch the USB-C altogether and give us a portless design in 2021. That would also make hackers and jailbreakers have a tougher time to get into the phone. So directionally, this is where Apple would invest. It would also mean that Apple would have to reopen the topic of AirPower technology. Though Apple did abandon AirPower technology, they didn't see that it would be the end of the road for it. Apple is putting their energy into improving battery tech with denser lithium-ion batteries, possibly paving the way for thinner phones or improved battery life. This has been seen during the iPhone 11 launch and further corroborated by Max Weinbach, a contributor to XDA developers. This becomes even more important since 5G will demand energy to switch between 4G and 5G signals till things stabilize. Throughout Apple's history, they have taken the iPhone chip and modified it to suit additional power for the iPad. So the iPad is likely to modify the A13 chip to embed this into the iPad Pro. The focus on iPad's compute graphics capabilities are likely to get it to focus more on AR. Past trends indicate that this could have release dates in the first half of 2020. That could mean that it is possible that it could show up in the March 2020 event. Given that the June event is a WWDC event largely focused on software, there's also a possibility that iPads could get pushed to fall, which contradicts rumors to accommodate a progressive A14 Bionic chipset, which could make the experience richer. By that time, we could also see 5G getting rolled out for the iPad Pro. There are rumors that Apple is working on a 5G chipset involving millimeter wave technology. Apple's current contract for 5G modems is for a few markets, as indicated earlier, and is limited. Given that Apple has a strategy of putting out an iPad every 18 months, putting 5G into an iPad may be a great decision to take. The iPhone 11 Pro's triple lens system is being rumored to be included along with a newer time-of-flight sensor, making design applications for 3D models possible. A refreshed front camera could also make Face ID quicker. This triple lens system would bring the iPad at par with the lens systems on the iPhone. While Apple is exploring LED displays and did bring it to the MacBook Pro 16-inch edition, as well as to the Pro Displays XDRs, it's also actively working on a mini LED backlight display according to Minchiko. We are likely to see them first in the 16-inch MacBook Pros in 2020. This technology would make a significant change with the iPad Pro, as the iPad Pro is a great on-the-run consumption device. Apple has also made progress on sound, with Dolby Atmos on the iPhone 11 Pro and on the 16-inch MacBook Pros. This technology should make its way into the iPad Pro in 2020. The iPad Pro design has changed quite a bit in 2018, so don't expect anything radical in 2020. Since the camera layout on the back is likely to change, the keyboard folio is also likely to undergo changes as well. The first beta of iOS 14 and iPadOS is likely to make its way at WWDC in June 2020. iOS 13 turned out to be pretty buggy, and rumors indicate that Apple will introduce software flags in their iOS builds. This will help them isolate bad code. This has been indicated by software VP Craig Federighi at their iOS 14 kickoff event, according to Bloomberg. This framework is not new. It's already being used by Google and Microsoft and should help avoid future builds of iOS 13 and 14 going buggy. So the focus in 2020 could well be on stability rather than on features. It's definitely a welcome to developers and testers who have had difficulty in identifying root causes for bugs when multiple features have been included in a single day's release. There have been no other rumors surrounding the feature set of iOS 14 or iPadOS yet. When Apple announced the revision of the 15-inch MacBook Pro to a 16-inch model, they announced a new screen size and a new keyboard. There's considerable expectation that Apple will continue this approach to the current 13-inch model lineup. What that could mean is a 14-inch MacBook Pro with a new scissor mechanism keyboard. Apple's rumors on a tile-like Bluetooth tracking device to attach to keys and wallets for tracking purposes was rumored back in October 2019. Traces for it were found in the code in iOS 13.2, which Apple seems to be calling as AirTags. There have been no further updates regarding this, and Apple is known not to comment till it gets it right. It seems to have created enough buzz amongst Apple fans in 2019 and is a highly anticipated release in 2020. In addition to a better performance, water resistance and improved wireless speeds that Apple is expected to put out, sleep tracking is a standout feature that is rumored to be coming to the Apple Watch. Withings has been the first smartwatch to put out sleep tracking into the market, indicating that the technology and approval processes have been made possible. Given that Apple doesn't particularly care about being first, but about being the best at it, it may be the right time to put this out for the Apple Watch Series 6. So now you've heard what I had to say. It's time to hear from you. Are you excited for anything that you heard today? What are you expecting Apple to release in 2020? Leave your thoughts and comments in the section below. For other videos on tech, see my links here. Do like the video if you liked it. Press subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell icon, because that's the only way YouTube lets you know if I've posted another video. Thank you so much for watching and see you in another video. Bye.